Come on.
You look at the image and the perception of the black man in the black community. Like, look at that perspective and perception that we portray. It's we're violent, we're thieves, we're criminals. You know, we have George Floyd allegedly used a counterfeit bill.
Counterfeit 20.
Now, mind you, I have ended up with a counterfeit bill before myself, right? And then I used it. And even though, like, I hate to say this, I ain't perfect, I ain't no saint. I knew it was counterfeit when I saw it, and I was like, oh, shit, somebody got me for a motherfucking 20. I went to the grocery store. Let me see this motherfucker notice this motherfucker is a counterfeit. And he didn't notice. You know what I'm saying? And so people are like, why would you do that? I mean,
it happens.
It happens. And so it's the same thing that probably happened to George Floyd. I don't think that George Floyd went out here, found a counterfeit bill, and was like, I'm finna go use this counterfeit bill at the corner store. You see what I'm saying?
If you actually watch the video of the before, like while he's in the store, he actually has a wad of money.
Yeah.
Now I noticed like people are probably saying, well, it's all counterfeit, but I mean,
I had a wad of money when I had a counterfeit 20. So
that's my thing.
That's why we say allegedly use a counterfeit 20.
But the thing is, getting back to where people look at us as bad, they're gonna be like, they just automatically think the negative. Now, my thing is with that, I'm gonna speak from like the negative part of how the police treats us. So watching the video, which I had a hard time of watching, the police get the call. The manager walks. Let me rewind a little bit. The guy who actually took the $20 bill, he went and told his manager, and he asked his manager. He said, "Look, no problem. We don't need no problems. I will actually pay for the cigarettes that he allegedly bought with this $20 bill. I'll pay for it." The manager was like, "No, we're calling the police." So the police show up. Before they even get to the car, their gun is drawn. Like,
that's the perspective of the black man.
The black man. This is a non-violent offense.
Non-violent. It's not even an arrestable offense.
And before you even have all the information, because of his skin tone, you are pulling and drawing your gun. You open the door, and you're like, "Show me your hands. Show me your hands." He's like, "Hey, man, I'm scared. I just got shot last year.
Right.
I just got shot last year. And you come up to my car with a gun drawn. I don't know who you are. If you actually, and then like going back, you never said police. You never said police. You just come up, open my door up, show me your hands, show me your hands. Like, dude, your perspective of who I am because of my skin tone is already taking seed. And when they so now throughout the whole thing, they're trying to use him being on drugs as the reason they had to throw him down.
I mean, he could have been on drugs. I don't know. He could have been high.
But that's the thing.
I don't know. But at the end of the day, that does not give you the right to draw a weapon. And the reason I say that is a lot of you motherfuckers don't know. Let me give you, because a lot of people don't know about the law. We're not taught that in school, which I feel like should be core curriculum in fucking school, right?
That's a lot of things that should be core curriculum.
A lot of things should be core curriculum. But here's the thing. A lot of people don't know. It is not against the law for you to be high. It is against the law for you to have it. It is against the law for you to be smoking it in some states, right? But it is not against the law for you to be high. There's a YouTuber that actually was on YouTube, and he was walking around doing a prank video. He was walking up to police officers like, "Man, I'm so fucking stoned right now, bro." And the cops were just laughing like, "Man, go home, sleep it off, man." You know. And then one of the cops was like, "It's technically not illegal for you to be high." He said, "You still have something on you?" And the guy was like, "No, I don't." He was like, "Well, there's nothing I can really do because you're high. Just go home, you know, have the munchies and sleep it off." So it is not against the law for you to be high. So even if an officer walks up and says, I have reason to believe that you're high, put your hands up, that's not an arrestable offense.
But so that's why we need to study our laws. And to secondhand that, as far as the videos, there's a guy, a nurse, I'm gonna call him a nurse, he works in a hospital. He's breaking down like, if you come in high, we need to know this.
Right.
We're not trying to get you in trouble. We're not trying to call the cops.
Just know what to give you.
Yes, to take care of you. You're messing your body up when you lie to us. And he just breaks down like, if you've had a beer, if you say you've had one beer, we automatically multiply by 3.
Because you're probably lying.
Yeah, because you're probably lying. Yeah. If you're high off marijuana, we know to give you something to eat and leave you the fuck alone.
Yeah.
So like getting back to the George Floyd case, watching them in court, they're sitting there saying that they're trying to depict and say that he's on drugs. And I haven't got a chance to see his toxicology report to see if he actually was. But to use the fact that you pulled a gun on me to make me nervous is not cool to say that I'm on drugs.
Right.
Because if I pull a gun on you.
It's even similar to me. I got a ticket for failure to move over. Coming over a hill, there was a law officer on the right side of the lane, and he had his lights on, had someone pulled over, and there was a cop watching over him in the turning lane. So there's a 2-lane street. There's a cop on both sides coming over a hill. So now I'm nervous, like, oh, shit, I don't know, like, should I get over or not? He's over here. And I didn't have a lot of time to react.
Okay.
And so there's a car behind me in the opposing lane. What's the point that I'm making? The point that I'm making is I just got in a car accident. I've had 3 surgeries, currently in recovery even right now. So with the car behind me, my first reaction was I need to move over, but I froze because I've been in a car accident already. I got hit by a semi-truck, almost got killed. So in that split second, I was scared and I didn't move over, but I slowed down. Another caveat for you guys, the move over law specifies safely. If you can safely move over, move over. If you can't, slow down under the speed limit and proceed, which is what I did. Officer pulled me over. Why didn't you get over? Because I was afraid. I didn't feel safe. Still wrote me a ticket. So my point is, what I'm saying is, these officers really don't care. Like a lot of times when you're getting pulled over, a law officer comes to your window, your door, they don't give a damn what you have to say. That's why attorneys always tell you, don't talk to cops. And I hate to add this caveat in because people will hear this and then look at me sideways. George Floyd should have just put his hands up and did whatever the officer said. Not because the officer is right, it's because the officers don't give a shit. The reason why they say you have a right to remain silent, anything you say can and will be used against you. He's literally telling you. He could come up to your door and say, how's your day going? Every single thing you say is being recorded and he's going to use it against you.
So to stop you on that, this is what something I found funny. And it's pertaining to today, the case today. So there was if you actually listen to the video, you hear George Floyd saying, I'm not trying to win, I'm not trying to win. He's talking to another gentleman.
Yeah.
And later on that night, the gentleman did not speak to the police. The reason I say this is funny is because they pulled him in as a witness to what happened to George Floyd. The prosecution pulled him as a witness. The defense is trying to use the fact that he didn't talk to the police that night to make him an uncredible witness.
Right.
So it's like you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. Now, for those that don't want to be snitches, just remember that you cannot go and play witness in court because they're going to use that against you. Now, one thing I don't like is the judge that's over this case. The first thing that kind of threw me off about him was the fact that there was a first responder that was there, and she was asking if she could actually take his pulse to make sure that he's okay. And the Asian officer said, no, if you're a first responder, you know what's going on. You know what we're doing here. And she kind of answered that, but then kind of went further into her answer. And the judge, I hate saying it like this, but he reprimanded her. He fussed at her for going further. She was like, I was giving my answer, and the judge was like, well, just answer the question the way they want you to answer the question. That's kind of fucked up to me.
I mean, but like I've been to court enough to know like what it is. When it comes down to the court of law, it really just falls down to who has the most money, who has the best relationships, who has the higher paid attorney. Because it's not about whether you're innocent or you're guilty. Mm-hmm. It's about who can pose the best argument.
Yeah, that's something I learned a long time ago too.
I learned that shit the hard way. You know
whoever can tell the better story. You
can tell the better story. You have more evidence. It's not even about whether it's true or not. Because like you stated earlier that I didn't know before we started the podcast is that this officer actually did the same thing to a teenage boy
3 years ago.
3 years earlier, and the judge, like you told me, would not allow them to use that incident in this case. Like it's not relevant. It's not relevant that you went inside of a house, you got a 17-year-old boy, and you put your fucking 14-year-old boy, and then you put your knee on his neck or on his back and pin this kid to the ground. And when he approached the kid was in the room just laying on the bed.
Looking at his phone.
And you went in there and threw him on the ground. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But the judge doesn't want that to be used in this case. Like it's not relevant. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. This is why I say like, the court of law is all about relationships, who you know, how you know them, and who got a better attorney. Like, and that's why, like I tell you people, and that's why, like an attorney told me, don't talk to cops. If you're not a cop, don't be talking to cops at the end of the day.
Yeah, no matter how mad they get, because they will, the reason they're getting mad is because they're trying to build a case from the moment they make contact, in their words, make contact with you. So, like, no matter how upset they get, just say, hey, here's my, in Georgia, all you got to do is give your license. Here's my license.
And look up the rules of engagements in your state, because some states, it's not against the law for you not to present your license. In Georgia, I think they only passed that law like 3 or 4 years ago because police officers were getting mad because people were refusing to identify. You know why? Because it's not illegal. You're an officer. In order for you to make contact with me, and this is where people get it misconstrued, but now in Georgia, you have to. It's against the law if you don't now. But I feel like that's bullshit. And the reason why I feel like that's bullshit is because anybody can go get a fake police officer uniform and say, let me get your ID, see your driver's license, see where you live. And for ladies, this is really scary for you. A guy can be impersonate an officer, ask to see your ID, see your address, see where you live, follow you home, and then rape you. And this is why the law was put in place, that you have to be committing a crime or breaking the law for someone to make contact with you, right? It's not a safe thing for me to just be giving anybody my driver's license. So with that being said, I think that we'll conclude the episode here, because there's not really much that we can say or go in depth about this case, because the case is still going on.
Yeah, it kind of just started this week.
It started on Monday, the 29th. So we don't really have a lot of information to really go over and look at. Right now, we're just in the preliminaries. Well, not preliminaries, but right now we're just in the early parts of the trial, where they're talking to, not key witnesses, but people that were just kind of there. They're trying to establish the actual case as a whole.
Yeah, they're trying to basically have the starting point. This is the starting point of it, and this is where everybody's basically. This is how it got to the news, got to the mainstream. So we're going to start with this part, and then also just talking about the guy who oversees the body camera and everything. But yeah, it just started on Monday, so it really haven't really gotten to the cusp of things. It's just started. Yeah.
So with that, we'll leave it at that, man. Me, I haven't really been watching, too much of the trial, because I don't need the extra emotional strain right now.
It is emotional.
I for me personally, I would rather just read about it and then, and have conversations like now, about what information has come out. But me personally, I can't watch it. I don't need that emotional strain. But if you guys have anything to add on to it that we may have missed, that we didn't talk about in this episode, be sure to leave it in the comment section below.
Yeah, I just got one more thing.
Oh my God, we're like
no, this is real quick.
I'm joking. Go ahead.
Have a conversation. This is a conversation that needs to be had. This case brings up a conversation that needs to be had as far as men, as far as children, just as far as our community, because this is like it's more of a safety conversation, so we'll know how to act. That's why I say just watch it or read about it to actually start the conversation.
Yeah. So with that piece, we'll leave it out with that. Just, you don't have to listen to our controversial perspectives, but my perspective is, if the police officers make contact with you, don't argue, don't try to fuss with them. Just do whatever they say, and then fight your case in court. And we'll leave it at that. It's more important for you to make it home safely to your family. You know what I'm saying? Black people are more likely to get killed in a traffic stop than our white counterparts. It's just the reality of it. You know what I'm saying? How we're perceived in life. So with that being said, guys, thank you guys for tuning into this episode. And if you guys want to see any more content from us, be sure to like this video. Be sure to share this video. It lets us know that you guys actually care about what we're doing. You know what I'm saying? So give us your input, and we'll catch you guys in the next episode.
Controversy out.
Audio